Yo, it's MartydudeVR, and no, the title is not clickbait. This is actually the DPVR E4. I got sent this for free from DPVR. Shout out them. This is a sponsored video, but you know, we're not biased. But this is actually the most interesting PCVR headset I've used. I'm not gonna lie. Now, usually you see titles like this and you think that's pretty clickbait. Trust me, not clickbait, all facts. Now, what makes this headset interesting? Honestly, I like and really dislike a lot about this headset. It's probably the most mixed I felt about probably all, 7 or 8 of my VR headsets. And we got to talk about it. First, let's get to the unboxing. First, let's talk about the unboxing of the headset. The DPVR box is pretty big and feels really premium. You know, I love a good premium unboxing. As I unboxed the E4, I was greeted by a generous amount of accessories. Like, honestly, probably the most I've got in the VR box outside of maybe the Valve Index. DPVR really showed they listened to previous reviewers and feedback, providing you numerous accessories to help with comfort, like multiple facial interfaces, cable clips, and anti-scratch lenses for people who wear glasses like me. It comes with 2 controllers, a DisplayPort cable, a power adapter, earbuds, a user manual, and assorted power plugs for numerous countries. Each component was neatly arranged and securely packed, ensuring that nothing was damaged during transit. Overall, for the unboxing, I'll probably give them a 10, honestly, for how well the box is packaged and just how fun it is to unbox. After the unboxing process was finished, I actually got to inspect the E4. I thought it would feel cheap, but this headset feels surprisingly really light and somehow very sturdy. I love the flip up hinge design, and I wish more VR headsets had something like it. I mean, it's really, really cool. The first thing that threw me off was the mesh facial interface that is very similar to the Quest Pro's light blocker interface. This little thing gave me the most egregious headache from how hard it is to install. It's really annoying to put on there. I'm actually really confused why DPVR chose the push and prom method when other facial interfaces use magnets and feels way easier to install in comparison. Visually, the headset looks cool as heck. Honestly, I love the reflective surface at the front of the headset, and it looks really futuristic. I like a futuristic looking VR headset. The top strap does feel a bit cheap, but I mean, as long as it works, then, you know, whatever. The controllers do feel a bit cheap also, but I do like the mushiness of the buttons, ironically, but the thumbsticks are a big drawback for me. They honestly feel like Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons, and it's a bit awkward in terms of reaching them for movement. I noticed in the website picture, the controller, the thumbsticks are a little bit longer, not sure why it's different in the actual, product, but that does have to be noted. The controllers are on the larger side. I definitely appreciate that as a guy with bigger hands. Trust me. Comfort is probably my biggest issue with this headset. It's honestly really a tragedy. If I had a smaller head, this headset would be amazing. As you can see, I'm a bigger guy. I'm 6'2", 270, and DPVR is a Chinese company, so obviously the build for their headsets is gonna be a bit smaller. I always expect that dealing with VR headsets for this long. I don't fault DPVR for this, honestly, because most VR headsets don't really do well with bigger people, to be quite honest with you. The facial interfaces are okay, but I can't wear the sturdy one because the hinge legitimately won't close. So I had to use the mesh one. Okay, let's take this off for a second. So, it doesn't give you a lot of leeway of like, that's kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie. This comes off. My eyes are so close to the lenses that it's actually really concerning. I do wish there was alternate head straps for the E4, but since it's such a niche headset, I'm pretty much out of luck. I do hope that in future versions they release a bit more adjustable head straps, or even alternate head straps, just in general. With all that complaining being said, I can see this being amazingly comfortable to a smaller headed person. They really give you a lot of PU leather on the back, sides, and the front of the Halo, and it's also removable, which is nice. This actually ended up saving me on comfort because I ended up removing the PU leather in the front on the Halo strap and back, and ended up giving me a lot more room to wear it comfortably. But that's also because I have other VR headsets that I could dismantle for parts. But everything I said still stands. If someone isn't a VR junkie like me and has a bunch of extra parts laying around, they'd be stuck with the base setup, which isn't too good for larger people. All right, that's enough about the comfort for the E4. The physical setup for the E4 was actually pretty fun, not gonna lie. I plugged the DisplayPort and the USB cable in and ran the cable through my limited edition, well, not really limited, but I just like saying that, AMVR VR cable management system, which you can also get from the website, and use code MartydudeVR for 10% off. But promo aside, the cable is actually pretty long, and I was kind of surprised by how heavy the adapters are. My cable management setup was lowered quite a bit by the DisplayPort adapters, and I do have to say though, the cord is mad heavy. After setting it up, I dived into the DPVR E4 assistant software, which is actually really good software. First, you have to make an account and make sure your controllers are actually turned on. I did have a little issue connecting mine at first, but I just skipped initial setup and then paired them manually, which was a lot easier. The room setup is also very simple and really similar to other VR headsets like the Index, Quest, blah, blah. All you gotta do is make sure the Steam VR is up and it connects pretty easily. The software is also actually pretty good for what it does. You can change the RGB lighting on the headset, auto launch DPVR assistant, and has a bunch of upgrades versus previous versions I saw in peer reviews. Overall, I do have to say I do love setting up PCVR headsets, and the E4 was actually really fun. The display of the DPVR E4 honestly really disappointed me. It's not the resolution or FOV is bad or anything. I mean, the resolution is only 3664 by 1920, which is the same as the Quest 2. And the FOV is a little bit higher than the Quest 2, being at 116 degrees, which is really good by the FOV. But everything is good if you can get the IPD to work for you. So in this headset, you can adjust the FOV using the software and line up this weird hexagonal object until pretty much everything is clear. The thing is, I never got that hexagonal object to be clear. No matter what I tried, no matter what I did, it never really got to the point where it was fully clear. Now my IPD is 72. So usually I do have an issue with IPD with a lot of VR headsets. But with this one, it was a little bit different because this one goes really high in terms of IPD, and I could not get it to the point where it made sense for my eyeballs. I actually went lower in the software than my actual IPD at like 60 something. Now, I do get why they chose to go for the software approach because, I mean, you want to get as high as an IPD as you can to fit people with, different IPDs. Personally, I would have liked the manual slider, but hey, it is what it is. I did try to move the headset around and get a sweet spot to get it as clear as I can while I was playing Contractors, Hellsplit, and Blade of Sorcery. And honestly, when I got it to the point where it was pretty clear, it looked really great resolution-wise. I was actually really impressed, and the FOV is actually really nice for games like Contractors. Now, the sweet spot is decently big for the lenses. It could be a little bit better, but it does work. And since this was my first PCVR only headset in a while, because I haven't used my Index in a minute, coming from the Quest 3, it was really good to get that 120 hertz, no latency PCVR and going, man. It was really fun, and I really enjoyed it. The only thing was that everything was blurry for me for a long time and honestly gave me a headache, and I cannot use this headset for long sessions. I also didn't have any issues with refresh rate because I'm using a 4090, so I usually max mine out anyway at 120. And man, it was smooth, butter smooth. The controllers included with the DPVR E4 are pretty standard. They do follow the usual Quest style of kind of Halo controllers in terms of design, but I really have some real gripes with these controllers. Firstly, I do like how big they are since I am obviously a bigger guy, but the killer here is that they feel so cheap. They feel like very cheap controllers, and for a $500 headset, I really expected a little bit better. The analog sticks are surprisingly short and kind of awkward to use. Like I said before, they feel kind of like the Joy-Cons on a Nintendo Switch. Now, I'm kind of in between about how mushy the buttons feel. They feel good enough of a response. I feel like they could be a little bit more sturdy, but they're good enough. I really hope in the next version of this headset, or even the controllers, or even separate controllers that DPVR could sell, that we really get a nicer version of controllers that have a bit more of a premium feel. Kind of like the Quest Pro controllers, the Valve Index controllers, or any other controllers from a reputable brand. With all that being said, they track extremely well, and I had no issues playing Contractors or Hellsplit Arena, flailing my arms around or anything like that. Moving on to the audio solution for the DPVR E4 actually surprised me. There is a built-in audio solution that's actually pretty decent. Not the most amazing thing ever, but it works really well. And they surprisingly offer a 3.5mm audio jack to plug in headphones or earphones that they give you, or ones of your own. That's really dope because I like when headsets give you an option on your audio solution. Now the audio is cool, like I said before, not much to write home about, but it is offered and you do have options. Let's talk about what could be improved for the E4. Personally, this headset has a lot of potential. I mean, a lot of potential. But man, does it really feel outdated compared to the competition? And that is a resounding yes. This headset does feel a little bit behind the competition. It's like the Quest 3, the Valve Indexes, or even other premium headsets like the Bigscreen Beyond. I think the hinge design and the YF will make this a really good competitor, because that's really unique, and FOV is nice. If you're a person who likes to look at your screen, do productivity stuff on your PC, heck yeah. If you're a VR dev who kind of wants to get in and out of VR to look at stuff, this headset is perfect for you. But it just has some strange design decisions that I just don't really understand. I think those design decisions really hinder its competition with other PCVR headsets around the same price. Oddly, it does accomplish its goal of providing a PCVR alternative to the Quest 2, but the question is, at what cost? Which is really interesting. I really do think that with more R&D time, which is research and development, the DPVR E4 could genuinely be a titan in the PCVR space with more updates and promo in the Western market, but as of right now, it is genuinely the most interesting PCVR headset because it really has this kind of 2 steps forward, 3 steps back type of philosophy when it comes to its design. So yeah, that title really wasn't clickbait. So what would I rate the DPVR E4 out of 5 dudes? Personally, I would give it a 3.5. Definitely a 3.5, maybe a 3. There's honestly too many shortcomings right now to recommend it to the PCVR game, but it definitely has potential. I would definitely keep an eye out for DPVR because I really do think their heart's in the right place and their mind's in the right place when it comes to actually developing this product. It wouldn't replace my Index and definitely isn't replace my Bigscreen Beyond that I just got. Like I said a few times in the past, I can't wait to see what they do in the future. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Finally back on the channel, man. Finally putting out more content. Man, we are soon back on a regular schedule. I had to take a little mental health break because I was putting out a lot of content at one point and your boy just got burnt out. We're almost to 4K at 3600 currently. Help a boy get to 4K. And with that being said, remember, I'm just dude with a VR headset. Peace.